The payment service providers, money brokers, closed down WikiLeaks' account. American hackers suspected of having links to WikiLeaks are detained, questioned, and have their computers confiscated.
At the end of the day, things involving the web, I think you find, are less mysterious and new than may meet the eye at first. If you just go beyond, I'd say, the surface, you'll find telecommunications companies that are hosting the servers or hosting the companies that in turn host this information and have made this possible. You'll find banks that provide banking services to these people. You'll find landlords who provide rent to the individuals involved. So to that extent, I'm pretty sure you can peel back the onion and find exactly what this organization is, where it conducts its activities, and which jurisdiction it's subject to most directly.
However, the stronger the attacks, the greater the support WikiLeaks receive. Julian Assange has been without a fixed address for several years, but wherever he lands, activists are on hand to offer him a place to sleep and their services free of charge.
People love the idea of an out-of-control investigative journalist who's trying to take on governments. The story of some quasi-romantic, fleet of foot, Scarlet Pimpernel character in the form of Julian Assange darting in the cyber shadows. It's very, appealing.
I am very pleased to be amongst so many people I can respect. I don't think I have ever been...
Assange is an ideal media figure. He's been portrayed as the Lone Ranger of the information age.
Who to?
Arnie. You are the only one which is sounding like a pure angel.
Me?
Yes.
A pure angel?
Yeah,
That's just the hair.
Praise and prizes have been poured over WikiLeaks. Time magazine has included Assange on a shortlist for the world's most influential man.
You should remember Solzhenitsyn's words that in the right moment, one word of truth outweighs the world.
But all is not quiet on the WikiLeaks front. Assange is aware that the Iraqi material that's shortly to be released will generate even more anger. In August, he travels to Sweden. He applies for a residence permit to obtain the protection of the world's most extensive freedom of the press law.
Kväll, efter dagar av spekulationer så kan Rapport nu avslöja att Piratpartiet tar över ansvaret för säkerhet och drift av sajten Wikileaks dataservrar.
Does this mean that Wikileaks is becoming even more Swedish?
I hope so.
To start with, everything goes well. Julian Assange is welcomed with open arms. He's invited to major political and trade union venues. And there are calls that he should be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize.
Julian Assange gör en blixtvisit i Stockholm och när svenska medier får höra om besöket börjar telefonerna gå varma. Ingen vill missa mannen bakom sidan som gjort fler avslöjanden under sin 3-åriga livstid än vad många nyhetsredaktioner tillsammans lyckats med under årtionden.
A couple of days later, the picture changes dramatically.
Åklagare har nu beslutat att inleda en förundersökning mot Wikileaks-grundaren Julian Assange.
Wikileaks grundare Julian Assange förhördes igår kväll.
Swedish authorities have issued an arrest warrant for Wikileaks founder Julian Assange. He's accused of rape and molestation.
On the 20th of August, Assange is accused of rape. The alleged crime is immediately leaked to the world press. Behind the accusation are 2 women who had casual relationships with Assange. The women don't make any public statements, but the important evening paper Aftonbladet publishes an anonymous interview with one of them, which states that what started as voluntary sex subsequently became what she described as abusive. But she's not afraid of him, and he's not violent.
All right, Julian Assange, the WikiLeaks founder and the target of the rape allegations, joins me now on the line. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Mr. Assange. What do you think about this?
Clearly it is a smear campaign of some kind.
Well, I came to Sweden as a refugee publisher involved with a extraordinary publishing fight with the Pentagon where our people were being detained with an attempt to prosecute me for espionage. So I'm
unhappy and disappointed with how the Swedish justice system has been abused.
Assange says he never forced anyone to have sex and that the judicial system has been misused. He implies that he's a victim of personal revenge and US pressure.
That troubled a lot of us that had worked with the organization, the way this case was mixed with Wikileaks. The way, of course, there must have been a party at the American embassy in Sweden when they read these news. It's like, yes, we don't have to do anything except just to pass this on.
But whatever the truth is, a shadow has now been cast not only on his but also Wikileaks' name. The rape allegations lead to a storm of protests from Wikileaks.
Wikileaks has become the sensation because the two last big scoops, and the only scoops that have been actually played into the hands of the mainstream media, are sort of Wikileaks versus the US or Julian Assange versus the Pentagon. This is not what Wikileaks is about. It is a site that focuses on all sorts of leaks from all over the world.
It has weakened the organization. That is my perception. Too much focused on one person, and one person is always much weaker than an organization.
The difference of opinion began when Assange decided to put all of WikiLeaks' resources into the giant American disclosures. And it's now grown into a serious source of discontent regarding how the organization should be run.
I think the wisest thing to do would have been to do this slowly, step by step, to grow the project. That did not happen. What happened was to pick out the biggest releases, to release these, to put all effort, all resources, everything we had into producing these releases.
Other voices join in the criticism, some through anonymous media interviews, and now it's Assange's turn to look for leaks. This is an extract from a chat between Domscheit Berry and Assange.
If you preach transparency to everyone else, you have to be transparent yourself. You have to fulfill the same standards that you expect from others. And I think that's where we've not been heading into the same direction philosophically anymore.
The argument ends with Daniel and several others quitting WikiLeaks.
Eventually this ended with me arguing with Julian about basically his dictatorial behavior, which ended in Julian saying to me that if I had a problem with him, I could just piss off, I quote.
Those who quit the organization build up their own site on the quiet, OpenLeaks, to be run without an authoritarian editor and serve purely as an online distribution service, helping people deliver material anonymously to the media.
OpenLeaks is a technology project that is aiming to be a service provider for third parties that want to be able to accept material from anonymous sources.
Well, I'm inclined not to talk too much about the few people that have decided that their interests are not with the WikiLeaks anymore. But what I hear is that some of the people are, contemplating to open up their own website with the same ideal as WikiLeaks, and I think that's an excellent idea, and I wish them well. I think it's the more the better.
WikiLeaks continues to pursue its set strategy, which leads to massive media reaction when the next part of the material is published.
I can't think of any case where a satellite news channel, the BBC Radio World Service, terrestrial channels and broadcasters and the internet are all going to go at the same time on a story.
This
disclosure is about the truth.
They're the secret files from the Iraq war.
Internetplattform Wikileaks.
Det är webbplatsen Wikileaks som publicerat omkring 400 000 sidor hemligstämplade amerikanska dokument.
So let me just say, with regards to the allegations of not intervening when coming across detainee abuse, not true.
The Iraq leak hits the headlines around the world. Thanks to Assange's strategy, the leak has a huge impact and greatly boosts WikiLeaks' resources. Now 40 volunteers are brought in to work more or less full-time for the organization, with another 800 people available for specific tasks. WikiLeaks are well into planning the release of future disclosures. But first, there's still the final part of the US material to be released.
For this latest release, we have chosen a different methodology. We have tried to pull it out over time, rather than having it all go out in one hit.
This time, however, the new material contains disclosures the consequences of which are far harder to assess than previous releases.
Nu är de ute, de första av tusentals handlingar med hemlig amerikansk diplomatpost.
The United States strongly condemns the illegal disclosure of classified information.
In a storm of criticism, WikiLeaks are accused of threatening world peace. Are they and their media partners sufficiently competent to gauge the consequences of releasing hundreds of thousands of diplomatic dispatches, covering everything from nuclear reactors in Iran to Saudi Arabian domestic policy? Or is it again a matter of the end justifying the means? For Christian Whiten, things are much simpler than that.
I think Mr. Assange is actually waging political warfare, too. He's not using weapons, but he's not using purely soft things either, like words. He's using information, wielding information against us, if you will. That, to me, is what political warfare is.
By and large, WikiLeaks is a force for good. I think you can't just be absolute on this. WikiLeaks is very, very powerful, and I think one has to be cautious of anything that's very, very powerful in life.
WikiLeaks' website may disappear again tomorrow, or it may suddenly reappear in 1,000 other locations. History is still in the process of being written, and the rape allegations are a long way from being settled. One thing's clear: whatever happens, WikiLeaks have sown a seed, a thought that's impossible to erase. It's about new ways and new channels of disseminating classified information that'll have a profound effect on transparency, not only on the net, but in a broader global dimension.
Well, what I really learned in the last 3 years is that a difference can be made bottom-up and not only top-down.
Information does not respect borders. States are going to have to rethink how they approach information. Any state which fails to do this will cease to exist.
Well, you know, if we're going to have a military and a defense policy, it's predicated on having information that is controlled. Of course, we're a democracy. We're one of the most open countries, I believe, in the history of the world. But information has to be protected in certain circumstances and denied to the public.
Democracy without transparency is no democracy. I mean, that's just an empty word.